Good morning, children, and welcome back in your English class. And I hope that you all are fit and fine. And I also hope that you are watching my video and you have seen the video. And also, I hope that you are preparing your notes also and also studying well at home. Children, before starting the next topic, I want to tell you some important things, some important notices. So first of all, let me tell you, because of a certain queries in your questionnaire about the syllabus and about the author and about the copies. So children, I want to tell you before starting the topic, I want to give you some important notices and information to you regarding your new change syllabus and also your topic. Children, first regarding copies. Children, I earlier told you about the copies that you have to make 2 copies in English, one for literature and one for grammar. And the figures of speech which I am teaching you, and before this we have completed the first chapter from prose section, and so write all the question and answer which I have already sent you in PDF file. So write the question and answer in your fair copy, in your literature fair copy. And figures of speech you have to write in literature copy, not in grammar copy, but you have to make separate copy for the grammar and literature. So write the figures of speech in your literature copy, not in grammar copy. So and second point is about your topic. The question you have asked during the question are that yes, I told you earlier that you have to write about the author briefly in your copy, but in prose section, children, you don't have to write about the author. Only you have to remember the name of the authors, but don't write about the authors in your prose in prose section. But in poetry you have to write about the poet when you will write the central idea of the poem. But in prose you don't need to write about the author in the answers, just but you have to remember the name of the authors. Only name of the authors you have to remember. You have to know about, you have to remember about the author, you have to know about the authors of the chapters, but no need to write about them in your copy. Clear, children? And then in poetry section, in poems, you have to write about the poet along with the central idea in your fair copy, in your copy when you will write about the central idea of the poem. And now the third point is about this new changed syllabus. Children, as we all know that due to the COVID-19, the UP board has reduced your syllabus or reduced the syllabus of 30% syllabus that UP board has reduced. And so children, the 30% syllabus the UP board has reduced, and the new syllabus, the change syllabus, I will send you the change syllabus, the pattern of the question paper along with this video through PDF file. Children, another point which I want to tell you regarding your books. Some of the children have already bought Vidya publication book. So children, if you have all the chapters, if you have all the contents in that book only, so it will be okay for you. But the UP board has prescribed the literature book, the text for the literature is Hornbill. So if you, some of the children have already bought Vidya publication book, but if you don't have any book right now, then buy the Hornbill for the literature portion. Because UP board has prescribed the literature text, that is the Hornbill. But if you have bought Vidya publication book, then no need to buy another book. But for the grammar portion, children, the UP board has not prescribed any particular book for you. So it is humble request to you, buy buy the book for grammar of any publication, but buy that book only which have all the contents, which have all the topics of the grammar prescribed in your syllabus. You buy that book only for the grammar portion, which have all the chapters, which have all the contents prescribed in your syllabus. You buy the grammar book and tally the contents and matter with the syllabus. Clear, children? और and we all know that कि आपको जैसे पता ही है कि due to the COVID-19 the UP board has reduced the 30% of the syllabus, जैसा कि आपको पता ही है, और 30% सिलेबस जो है आपका रिड्यूस कर दिया गया है, यूपी बोर्ड ने रिड्यूस कर दिया है। तो बच्चों ये 30% सिलेबस जो आपका रिड्यूस कर दिया गया है, जो न्यू चेंज सिलेबस है, मैं आपको एक PDF फाइल में मैं आपको सेंड कर दूंगी इस वीडियो के साथ। So don't worry about the syllabus and don't worry about the pattern of the question paper, because I will send you the new change syllabus and the pattern of the question paper along with this video. तो बच्चों आप बिल्कुल इसकी चिंता मत कीजिएगा, और क्वेश्चन पेपर का पैटर्न ऑफ द क्वेश्चन पेपर या फिर आपका जो है न्यू चेंज सिलेबस मैं PDF फाइल के थ्रू आपको भेज दूंगी इस वीडियो के साथ। और इट इज़ हम्बल रिक्वेस्ट टू प्लीज़ डाउनलोड द PDF को डाउनलोड कर लीजिए और कहीं सेव कर लीजिएगा, और फिर बाद में इसको ध्यान से पढ़िएगा आप अपने सिलेबस में। और फिर इसके बाद अगर आपने बुक्स नहीं खरीदी है और तो आप सिलेबस से कंटेंट्स और चैप्टर्स मिलाकर आप जो है वो अपने ग्रामर की बुक जो है वो किसी भी पब्लिकेशन बुक की खरीदिए, परचेज़ कर लीजिएगा, जिसमें वो सारे मैटर्स, जिसमें वो सारे चैप्टर्स जो होंगे। But for the literature portion, the UP board has prescribed your literature text, that is the Hornbill. Okay, and if you have bought with your publication book, then no need to buy another book. Clear, children? So children, I hope that you all have understood. Now children, as we know that we have started the figures of a speech, in previous lecture we have completed 4 figures of a speech, and up to hyperbole we have completed with all the with the explanation and also with the examples. So we have already completed 4 figures of a speech, up to hyperbole we have completed. Now in this lecture we are going to continue, we are going to start next figures of a speech, that is the oxymoron, and only 3 figures of speech are left to study. So the first we will start oxymoron, and after this we will study next 2 figures of speech. So children, let's start the explanation of the figures of a speech with the example through notes. So children, let's start the explanation of the next figure of speech, that is oxymoron. And oxymoron, let's first know about its definition. What is an oxymoron? Now oxymoron is a figure of speech in which 2 opposite ideas are joined to create an effect. Or you can say that an oxymoron is a figure of speech that has 2 contradictory or opposite words. I repeat this definition once again, children. Oxymoron is a figure of speech in which 2 opposite ideas are joined to create an effect. Or you can say that in another word, that an oxymoron is a figure of speech that has 2 contradictory or opposite words. Now contradictory means opposite. Now you can say that so basically it's a combination of 2 words that really have opposite meanings, but we use them regularly in sentences and phrases. So children, it's a combination of 2 words that really have opposite meanings. It is a combination of 2 words but have opposite meanings. Let's see the examples. Some common examples of oxymoron are open secret, tragic comedy, seriously funny, awfully pretty, foolish wisdom, original copies. Now in these examples you can see the combination of two words, but they have opposite meanings. Open, secret. Opposite of open is secret. Tragic, comedy. The opposite word of tragic is comedy, and the opposite word of seriously is funny, and opposite word of awfully is pretty, foolish, for foolish wisdom, for original copies. Now these are the examples, these are the common example, combination of two words but have opposite meanings. Now let's see some other examples of the oxymoron. Some examples of oxymoron in speech. Let's see the first example. There was a love-hate relationship between the two neighboring states. Now this is a statement, this is a speech. There was a love-hate relationship between the two neighboring states. Now here the oxymoron is love-hate. Here two opposite words, the combination of two words, but they have opposite meanings. Love, hate. The opposite of love is hate. यानी love का उल्टा क्या है? Hate है. ये कॉम्बिनेशन है, दो वर्ड्स का कॉम्बिनेशन है, लेकिन दोनों का मतलब एक दूसरे से क्या है? डिफरेंट है. यानी लव का ऑपोजिट क्या है? हेट है. लव का उल्टा क्या होता है? हेट. सो ऑक्सीमोरॉन इज अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ टू वर्ड्स but have different meanings. Let's see another example. All the politicians agreed to disagree. Now in this speech or in this statement, all the politicians agreed to disagree. Now agreed to disagree. Agreed and disagree. Now combination of two words in a sentence but have opposite meanings. Now third one. There was an employee in the office who was regularly irregular. Now here again the combination of two words, regularly, irregular, opposite to each other. Now some example of oxymoron in literature. Let's see some examples of oxymoron in literature. Now why? I read the lines. Why then, O brawling love, O loving hate, O heavy lightness, serious vanity. Now you can see, you can observe the pairs of different pairs of combinations of words like loving, hate, heavy lightness, serious vanity. Now these lines again I read. The left portion. Feather of lead, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health. Now these lines have been derived from the Romeo and Juliet by William Shakespeare. These lines are from the Romeo and Juliet composed by William Shakespeare. Now you can see here an intense emotional effect is produced. Here children, an intense emotional effect is produced for what? To highlight the mental conflict of the Romeo, the mental conflict of the Romeo by the use of contradictory pair of words. Yani contradictory means opposite pair of words. Such as जैसे कि like see, like the contradictory pair of words like loving hate, heavy lightness, and then here bright smoke, cold fire, sick health. Now here what it the an intense emotional effect is produced for what to highlight the mental conflict of the Romeo by the use of opposite pair of words such as hating love, heavy lightness, bright smoke, cold fire, sick health. Bright, opposite of bright is smoke, opposite of cold is fire, opposite of sick can be health. So let's know about another example. Let's read. His honor rooted in dishonored stood, and faith unfaithful kept him falsely true. You can easily see the children, you can easily see the contradictory pair of words in this dialogue, in this speech portion. You can easily observe. Now यहाँ पे now you can say that we clearly notice the use of oxymoron in the phrases like honor, dishonor, faith, unfaithful, falsely true. So these you can easily observe, you can easily notice the use of contradictory pair of words such as honor, dishonor, faith, unfaithful, falsely and true. And the definition of oxymoron is what? Definition of oxymoron is that combination of two words having opposite meanings. Now these lines have been derived from the Lancelot and Elaine by Alfred Lord Tennyson, the famous poet Alfred Lord Tennyson. Now the next example from the literature is I find no peace, and all my war is done. I fear and hope, I burn and freeze like ice. I flee above the wind, yet can I not arise. It is the portion of sonnet composed by Sir Thomas Watt. Now here you can here also you can observe, you can notice the contradictory pair of words, opposite pair of words. Now here also children, the contradictory ideas of war and peace, burn, freeze, flee above, and I not arise. You can easily observe, you can easily see the use of contradictory pair of words like peace, war, freeze, burn, flee above, and not arise. So here also oxymoron, when a pair of words, contradictory pair of words are in these lines. You can easily notice those pair of the use of contradictory pairs of words in these lines. Now children, so next of the figure of a speech is apostrophe. Now before starting the apostrophe, let me tell you about the function of oxymoron. What is the function of oxymoron? Now children, oxymoron, as I told you, ki combination of two words having opposite meanings, it produces a dramatic effect in both prose and poetry. For example, when we read or hear the famous oxymoron, sweet sorrow and sweet sorrow, then it appeals to us instantly. It provokes our thoughts and makes us ponder, makes us consider, ponder the meaning of contradicting ideas. Contradicting means opposite ideas. And this apparently confusing phrase expresses the complex nature of love that can never be expressed through simple words. And children, in everyday conversation, however, people do not use oxymoron to make deep statements like above sweet sorrow. Instead, they do it to show wit. Instead, they do it to show wit. And the use of oxymoron adds flavor to their speech. So children, once again I repeat कि in everyday conversation people do not use oxymoron to make deep statements like the above sentence sweet sorrow or other example which we have studied, but instead they do it to show their wit. विट मीन्स इंटेलिजेंस, यानी अपनी बुद्धि को शो करने के लिए इंस्टेंट दे डू इट. एंड द यूज ऑफ ऑक्सीमोरॉन एड्स फ्लेवर टू देयर स्पीच. So this is the function of oxymoron. Now let's study about the apostrophe. Now what is the definition of apostrophe? Apostrophe is a figure of speech sometimes represented by an exclamation such as "oh." A writer or speaker using apostrophe speaks directly to someone who is not present or is dead, or speaks to an inanimate object. It is also represented by an exclamation mark. You can see the mark. It also represented with the punctuation mark like this. Once again I repeat the definition, children. Apostrophe is a figure of speech sometimes represented by an exclamation such as "oh." एपोस्ट्रॉफी आपका जो ये है फिगर ऑफ स्पीच है, कभी कभी हम जो है वो एक्सक्लेम्ड होकर वर्ड्स को अटर करते हैं, बोलते हैं लाइक "ओ आ." Then a writer or a speaker using apostrophe speaks directly to someone. इन apostrophe में क्या होता है, राइटर जो स्पीकर होते हैं वो किसी से डायरेक्टली स्पीक करते हैं, बट द पर्सन whom the writer speaks is not present or is dead, or speaks to an inanimate object. यानी जो आपकी जो नॉन लिविंग थिंग्स होती है उससे बातें करते हैं एज्यूम करके कि वो ह्यूमन बीइंग है. इट इज़ ऑल्सो रिप्रेजेंटेड बाय एन एक्सक्लेमेशन मार्क लाइक दिस, एंड इट ऑल्सो रिप्रेजेंटेड विद द पंक्चुएशन मार्क लाइक दिस, कॉमा. सो वी कैन से दैट चिल्ड्रन कि एपोस्ट्रॉफी इन लिटरेचर is an arrangement of words addressing a non-existent person or an abstract idea in such a way as if it were present and capable of understanding feelings. Now children, एपोस्ट्रॉफी जो होता है लिटरेचर में ऐसे व्यक्ति या ऐसे पर्सन या एब्स्ट्रैक्ट आइडिया को इस तरह से एड्रेस करते हैं, करने की मतलब इस तरह से करने वाले वर्ड्स की अरेंजमेंट है या व्यवस्था है, जैसा कि यह प्रेजेंट हो, वो पर्सन जो है वो प्रेजेंट हो या फिर वो फीलिंग्स को समझने के लिए कैपेबल हो. मतलब आपका एपोस्ट्रॉफी में जो लिटरेचर में ऐसे पर्सन या ऐसे एब्स्ट्रैक्ट आइडियाज़ को एड्रेस करते हैं जो कि लगता है कि वो प्रेजेंट है, जो कि वो प्रेजेंट नहीं होता है, वो डेड होता है या वो एब्सेंट होता है, या कोई एब्स्ट्रैक्ट आइडियाज़ है जो आपको दिखता नहीं है, ओनली यू कैन फील. तो ऐसी चीज़ को हम एड्रेस करते हैं और ये एज्यूम करके कि वो पर्सन जो है वो अलाइव है, प्रेजेंट है, तो और वो फीलिंग्स को समझने में कैपेबल है. अंडरस्टूड चिल्ड्रन? सो कैपेबल ऑफ फीलिंग्स. और you can say that ki when a character in a literary work speaks to an object, an idea, or someone who does not exist as if it is a living person. I repeat it. Or when, from here I repeat it, और when a character in a literary work, यानी भी किसी भी literary work का जो character, कोई पात्र या character speaks to an object, किसी थिंग या ऑब्जेक्ट से बात करता हो, या किसी आइडिया से वो कॉन्वर्सेशन कर रहा हो या उससे बात कर रहा हो, या समवन या उस व्यक्ति या उस पर्सन से बात कर रहा हो हु डज नॉट एग्जिस्ट, जो कि है ही नहीं, जो कि प्रेजेंट नहीं है, एज इफ़ इट इज़ अ लिविंग पर्सन. और वो क्या एड्रेस करके बात कर रहा है कि वो एक लिविंग पर्सन है, वो प्रेजेंट है, बट इनफैक्ट वर्चुअली रियलिटी में वो प्रेजेंट नहीं है, उसको एज्यूम करके वो जो है उसको एड्रेस करके द speaker speaks, the character speaks. The character speaks to an object, an idea, or someone who does not exist as if it is a living person. Now let's see the examples. Oh Rose, how sweet you smell and how bright you look. Now here, now children, the oh Rose, how sweet you smell and how bright you look. Now here the speaker speaks to Rose. The speaker speaks to Rose as if it is present and capable of understanding feelings. Here the speaker speaks to Rose as if it is present and capable of understanding feelings. Now let's see another examples of apostrophe. Come, let me clutch thee. This line derived from Macbeth, written by William Shakespeare. Now here, now come let me clutch thee. Now here the exclamation mark is given, so this is an apostrophe. Now come let me clutch thee. And then another example of apostrophe that now children, with apostrophe word comes from the Greek word apostrophe. It means turning back or away, and becomes to perform and turning back or away, because to perform a character on stage, an actor turns away from the scene to address an absent existence. जब मंच पे वो रोल करने के लिए जो एक्टर होता है वो कभी कभी ऐसे पर्सन को एड्रेस करके वो बोलता है जो कि या तो वो पर्सन अलाइव नहीं होता है, यानी वो पर्सन डेड रहता है, या फिर वो प्रेजेंट नहीं होता है, चाहे वो एक आइडिया हो, चाहे वो एक ऑब्जेक्ट हो, या चाहे वो कोई पर्सन हो. सो चिल्ड्रन, मतलब ये कि जो मंच स्टेज पे कोई प्रदर्शन करने के लिए कोई एक्टर अगर एब्सेंट एग्जिस्टेंस को एड्रेस करने के लिए वो जो है वो सीन से दूर हो जाता है. सो हियर द कैरेक्टर मैकबेथ हैज़ अ स्ट्रेंज विजन ऑफ अ डैगर. ही हैड अ स्ट्रेंज विजन ऑफ डैगर. डैगर में जो होता है खड़ा वो चाकू मतलब नाइफ के शेप में होता है डैगर, जो बहुत शार्प और बहुत ज़्यादा ब्रॉड होता है. So he had a strange vision of a dagger, and he talks to it. And he talks to the dagger as if it were a person. So here apostrophe is used. So this sentence is apostrophe. Now second, let's see another example. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are, like a and up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. And these lines have been taken from the Star, the famous poem Star, composed by Jane Taylor. Now children, this poem became one of the most popular nursery rhymes told to little children, and often in the form of song. So in this nursery rhyme, a child speaks to a star. The child speaks to a star, and a star was an inanimate object. So hence this is a children, this is a classic example of apostrophe. Now here the child speaks to the star. Star is an inanimate object. So I think this is a classic example of apostrophe. Now let's see other examples, common examples of the apostrophe. Car, please get me to work today. Now here car is addresses as human being, and someone is talking to the car. Oh trees, how majestic you are, as you as you throw down your golden leaves. Now here again someone is talking to the trees. So here these are the example of apostrophe. Now children, what is the function of apostrophe? ये apostrophe का जो है वो कार्य काम क्या होता है? What is the function of apostrophe? Children, by employing apostrophe in the literary works, the writers try to bring abstract ideas, or you can say that ki non-existent person to life. What the writers, the authors try to bring abstract ideas, or you can say that ki non-existent persons to life. Children, the writers trying to bring abstract ideas or non-existent persons to life. So by employing apostrophe in their literary works, what author try to bring abstract ideas or non-existent persons to life. For what is the reason? So that the nature of the emotion, they want to communicate comes across in a better or in a good way. That is why they try to bring abstract ideas or non-existent person to life by employing apostrophe in their works. And children, one more thing is also that it is more convenient for readers to relate themselves to abstract emotions when they observe them in their natural surroundings. It is very easy for the readers. It is or you can say that it is more easier for the readers to relate themselves for what? With what? To abstract emotions when they observe them in their natural surroundings. When they observe those objects in the natural surroundings, then it becomes more easier for the readers to relate with them, with those abstract emotions. Or in addition, you can also say that the use of apostrophe motivates readers for what? To develop an outlook that is more fresh as well as creative. In last line we can once again I repeat you can also add, in addition you can also say that the use of what is the purpose of apostrophe, what is the purpose of use of apostrophe. So children, the use of apostrophe motivates readers to develop an outlook that is more fresh as well as creative. Now children, let's start the next now some other example. Let's know about the oxymoron. That is the now we have done the examples. Now let's start the last figure of a speech, that is onomatopoeia. Now onomatopoeia is the last figure of speech. Now children, what is the definition? Let's know. It is defined as a word which imitates the natural sounds of a thing. It creates a sound effect that mimics the things described, making the description more expressive and interesting. यानी जब ये ऐसा वर्ड है, फिगर ऑफ स्पीच है, जो कि किसी भी चीज़ की जो नेचुरल साउंड होता है उसको इमिटेट्स करता है, उसको आप कह सकते हैं कि उसकी मिमिक्री करता है, मिमिक्स करता है. यानी it is defined as a word which imitates the natural sounds of a thing. It creates a sound effect that mimics the things described, making the description more expressive and interesting. So let's see the example. For example, the gushing stream flows in the forest. Now see this example. The gushing, here the sound of the stream is gushing. यहाँ पे जो झरने की या जो वो उसकी जो साउंड रिफ्लेक्ट कर रहा है वो है gushing. The gushing stream flows in the forest. Now it is more meaningful description than just saying the stream flows in the forest. अगर हम सिंपल वर्ड में ये बोले कि the stream flows in the forest, तो मीनिंग तो वही है, लेकिन वो ये इतना इफ़ेक्टिव और इतना एक्सप्रेसिव नहीं है जितना कि ये सेंटेंस है आपका, द गशिंग स्ट्रीम फ्लोज इन द फॉरेस्ट। गशिंग जो है वो स्ट्रीम को का साउंड है, उसकी आवाज़ है। द नेचुरल ऑब्जेक्ट है, उसका जो साउंड प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है उससे जो सीन है, जो सराउंडिंग है, वो मोर इफेक्टिव एंड मोर एक्सप्रेसिव बन जाता है। सो दिस इज अनामोटोपिया, मीन्स इट इज डिफाइंड एज अ वर्ड विच imitates the natural sounds of a thing. So here this example. Now let's see some common example. The buzzing bee flew away. Here the sound of the bee is buzzing. Buzzing sound produces, so it is onomatopoeia. He looked at the roaring. And then roaring is also the sound. And again the third example, the rustling leaves kept me awake. The rustling leaves, the sound of the leaves, rustling leaves जो है वो खड़खड़ाने की आवाज़ आ रही है. The rustling leaves kept me awake, यानी leaves की खड़खड़ाने की आवाज़ से जो है kept me awake, तो मैं नींद से जग गया. So the rustling is the sound of leaves. सो ये अनामोटोपिया इस यानी नेचुरल ऑब्जेक्ट का साउंड है. सो यहाँ पे अनामोटोपिया है. देन चिल्ड्रन देयर आर ऑल्सो डिफरेंट साउंड्स ऑफ एनिमल्स which are considered as example of onomatopoeia. You can and I'm sure that you will recognize those sounds. So sounds of animals are meow, neigh, tweet, bark. These are the sounds of animals which are considered the examples of onomatopoeia, because these are the sounds of animal, and the sentence in which the sound of some natural object produced in a sentence, that is onomatopoeia. Now some examples from literature. The moan of doves is immemorial elms and murmuring of innumerable bees. Now these lines are derived from Come Down, O Maid by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Now here children, the figure of speech. Now here you can say that the figure of speech is frequently employed in literature also. The use of it gives rhythm to the text. अब जो इसके फिगर ऑफ स्पीच है इसका यूज़ लिटरेचर में किया गया फॉर द एंड दैट मेक्स द डिस्क्रिप्शन livelier and more interesting, appealing directly to the senses of the reader. So here the literature with examples in literature. So children, this figure of speech is frequently employed in the literature, and the use of it gives a rhythm to the text, and this make the description more effective and more interesting, and appealing directly to the senses of the reader. So here are the examples from literature, that is the moan of doves in immemorial elms and murmuring of the innumerable bees. These lines have been derived from the Come Down, O Maid by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Here the moan is the sound of doves, and the murmuring is also the sound of bees. So this figure of speech is used here. Now another example from literature. Hark, hark, bow, 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 wow. The watchdogs bark, bow, wow. Hark, hark, I hear. These lines have been taken from The Tempest, written by William Shakespeare, and in this also the sound of dogs, hark, hark, bow, wow, is here. So this figure of speech is used in these lines. Now children, some other examples of this figure of speech are, some other examples of onomatopoeia are, the flood water gushed through the town. Now the flood water sounds gushed. The owl hooted on the tree. The hooted owl hooted. And the teeth chattered as I stood in the snow. Now, teeth, sound of the teeth is chattering. The teeth is chattering. So, chattered, chattering is the sound of teeth. Yes, sound is producing. Here also sound is producing. Here also sound is producing. Now, here again, the lion roared as it chased its prey. How the lion, the sound of the lion is roared. The lion is roaring. So, here the sound is producing. So, onomatopoeia, figure of speech, is used here. So, these are the examples of onomatopoeia. And children, we have completed all the figures of speech. And let me tell you about the function of onomatopoeia. Children, generally words are used to tell what is happening, isn't it? जनरली वर्ड्स आर यूज टू टेल कि वॉट इज़ हैपनिंग. मतलब कभी कभी हम शब्दों को कभी कभी यूज़ करते हैं ना कि ये बताने के लिए कि वॉट इज़ हैपनिंग. सो onomatopoeia ऑन द अदर हैंड हेल्प्स द रीडर्स टू हेयर द साउंड्स ऑफ द वर्ड्स. हम वर्ड्स बोलते हैं और उसका जो साउंड क्रिएट होता है वो onomatopoeia फिगर ऑफ स्पीच रीडर्स को हेल्प करता है उस साउंड को पहचानने में. Hence, the reader cannot help but enter the word created by the poet with the aid of these words. रीडर जो है वो इन वर्ड्स को ग्रैप्स नहीं कर पाता है, लेकिन बट द रीडर एंटर्स cannot help but enters the word created by the poet and with the help of these words. So the beauty of onomatopoeia, the beauty of this figure of speech lies in the fact that they are bound to have an effect on the reader's senses. They are bound to have a beautiful effect on the senses of the readers. And whether the effect is understood or not, moreover, a simple plain expression does not have the same emphatic effect that conveys an idea powerfully to the readers. So the use of these words, the use of this figure of speech helps create emphasis. Understood, children? Means that the beauty of this figure of speech lies in the fact that they are bound to have an effect on the senses of the readers, whether that effect is understood or not. Understood? So generally the words are what I told you, generally the words are tell what is happening, but this figure of speech on the other hand helps reader to hear the sounds of the words. They reflect. So the reader cannot help but enter the word created by the poet with the help of these words. Understood, children? So these are the figures of speech. We have completed all the figures of speech with the examples, with the explanation through the notes. So children, please write all the figures of speech with the examples in your literature copy. So we will stop here, and in next lecture we will start our next topic. So take care of yourself and goodbye.